Good morning, YouTube. My name is SV, and we are playing Satisfactory. Taking a look at this manufacturer here, producing Ethereum computers, basically just computers. I got a whole bunch of them now. I'm going to delete this little setup here. So basically, I got tired of handcrafting them, and obviously I don't have a computer factory just yet within my normal base, but I just brought in lines from my hub and just brought them in here. It actually worked out pretty well. I let it run overnight, got a whole bunch of computers. Now I won't have to craft computers for a while. So we're good to go. I added our to-do list here. We're going to add a new one in here. Well, we're going to add a couple of them in here. Hover pack. And then that is complete. Alright, so we got aluminum done. Here's all the ones. Well, let's just go through the list. Walking path near road. Design hub, so redesign the hub. Fixmas factory, maybe. Sorting to Mark 5, which we're going to tackle today. Explorer factory, I'll explain what that is, that's over there. Turbo fuel power, redo train lines. The copper factory. Finish iron factory, aluminum factory we have built, I'll show you that. Redo power lines, that's basically redo them alongside the train line. So we have a power control room that we could control each of the individual factories. Dismantle the starter base eventually. Expand the train station, that one over there. Some base supports for this entire thing. Street tunnels, I think we're going to redo our power setup and our streets over here to be more tunnel-like than just power poles. Cover train floor with walls. Oh, okay, yeah. That means the train floor right now is completely exposed to the outside. We'll cover that with walls. Cover the train lines also. Basically so that they're always in a tunnel. And support for roads and trains. Another one we're going to add here is nuclear power plant. So yeah, if it's got this little mark here, it's a work in progress. If it's got a check, we've finished it. Let's look at the hub and see what we've unlocked. See, we have a new milestone there. So all of tier 7 is complete. Makes it easy as soon as you get aluminum. Now we're working on tier 8. And nuclear power will be one we'll tackle, but first I want Mark 3 miners. So that's why we're in this one. Oh, that's an interesting one. I didn't even look at that. That means we can handcraft fused, right? Yep, so that's going to be a while because we can handcraft these. Today is the 21st. So let's see what's in here. Snowball, great. Alright, let's dump these computers into their spot. We'll pick up a whole bunch of Mark 5 belts. And then we're going to go and redo the sorting setup downstairs with all Mark 5s. Which we've got a good portion of it already complete, because I was working on that yesterday, so I just wanted to knock that out today. We have the hover pack, by the way. You can see. After we finish out doing these Mark 5s, which shouldn't take too long, I'll show you the aluminum factory, which it's going to warn you, it's kind of a hot mess. There's definitely a quick and dirty setup, but oh man, that thing is honestly kind of complex. Yeah, once we get this converted to Mark 5s, we'll be cruising in the sorting. Also, I gotta say, Mark 5's really difficult to stand up. My first playthrough where I've had a legitimate Mark 5 setup. That wasn't me handcrafting something or going back and forth and adding something by hand. We're going to walk through it, and I'll talk about some of the problems I came across there as well. There's quite a bit that happened in that one. Okay, it's just a space. You could tell what's not a Mark V. It's a little bit darker. See the difference? I think all of the lifts should already be Mark V. So I changed my hotkey to be Mark Vs already. Yeah, faster sorting is important. We'll tackle all the in-between things here in a second. So those are definitely bottlenecks right now. And yeah, we're pretty much going to use Mark Vs going forward. I did convert yesterday the entire upstairs sorting. So, you know, up here or down here, these lines all sort according to the 8 output lines. Upstairs, I changed them already to sort accordingly. And at Mark V. Good, looks like these are all Mark V. Yep. So let's pick a line. We'll do this one, and then that one, because I think we're done with the big lines. Alright, this looks like it's finished. It's hard to tell, like, I don't remember what I did and what I didn't do, so that's why we're just going back through. And that's why I said it's not going to take that long for us to do this, because a good portion of it is already taken care of. If we miss one here and there, it's fine. Curious what's in here. Is there? No, nothing right now. That's like my solution for if something squeaks past the sorting. And hopefully it doesn't bottleneck. Like we found out there's a bunch of sulfur in the line, which we don't have a sorting solution because who needs raw sulfur? So I didn't include that, and then filled up that container and eventually overflowed, but I guess we would have caught the overflow a lot sooner had that container not been there, but we would have also stopped a lot of materials getting through. We'll end up probably redoing this sorting solution with programmable splitters in the future. I have to mess around with them and see how many choices per output you could have on there. So if you could have 12 choices per output or whatever it is, we'll separate these lines out real quick and reduce the number of space that, like this space is a little bit, let's just say excessive. But it does the trick. Honestly, it's been working like a dream for a while. And then, you know, you just put in a material sometimes and then watch to see if it makes it all the way through. And if it does, you know it's working. If it doesn't, then go and find out where the hiccup is. And there's some we didn't set because we didn't have it unlocked. Yeah, like turbo motors I don't think are set. I double checked to make sure sheets were set before I dumped any in there because I didn't want them to get sunk by accident. How did that line not get changed? Okay, now they're good. But yeah, there's just a little things like that for the sorting solution, and it has been paying off pretty well. And then it all gets sunk into the awesome sink if it's an excess item. Yeah, now we've got 780 belts. Get that Mark III miner eventually, because damn, I was not prepared for. I guess we could add in those fused. What are those fused modular frames or fused frames to the alumina factory? That might actually be a good spot for it because we've got alumina solution in there. We would just have to redo the factory a little bit. But we're gonna go there next. Talk about what that looks like. I guess if I really wanted to, I could take the starter factory and convert it to Mark V's, but that seems excessive. I already converted it to Mark IVs and redid all of the outputs to accommodate. So like when we had 4 or 5 quick-wire outputs, those all got consolidated into one. We don't need that, you know, we don't need that much difference. Oh, autosave. I want to say maybe it went back down to 5 minutes. It happens too frequently. I think we did that one. Okay, those are good. Yeah, this one needs it. I think this might be the last one. Walk through our aluminum factory. Apologies if I don't seem super energetic today. I'm not feeling too great. Didn't get much sleep last night. Or most nights lately. I don't know what's going on. You know, you sometimes have those days. It is what it is. Satisfactory did that thing that oxygen does, where it's a little bit more melodic when you put down something. I know they're very different style of games, but it makes putting down giant stuff like this a little bit more pleasant. I don't think I have any power here to hover back over anything. I'm not sure, maybe below me I do. most important one is this middle one. These are the least important, and then those are the second most important for just speed of transfer. Man, you do really get moving on Mark 5s. You're standing on it, do a slide and jump, you are fucking flying. Look how many Mark 5s we used already, though. At least over here, it's just like 2 per. And then I'm gonna have a whole shit ton of Mark 4 belts in my inventory after this. I do really like that you could just go back and replace like that. That's such a smart move. I'm looking forward to replacing all the belts in the concrete, iron, all those factories, but we're gonna have to do it. Should be a little easier than this. This is the big beast currently for belt work in the base. I think this might call it for those. Do I have any power? Oh, looks like I have some. Looks like we're looking good. Look how fast that stuff's getting sorted. There's no power over there. It is nice to just be able to hover around over here. Yeah, I think we might be good. Okay. I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? About how fast you are on those. Alright, let's go. No, we gotta go down. So we're gonna try to catch a train. I got totally turned around right there. So we have a train that's bringing the aluminum into the base, as you saw. We've got quite a bit. Oh, we should actually change these out. All that stuff up there doesn't matter if the materials out of here don't come out fast enough. Let's add that into the mix. And we can add that into the mix. Get sorted. So what does it take for fused? Maybe we could actually get them built up. Oh, heavy modular frames. We don't have those being created anywhere automatically just yet. That's a wild recipe. What train is this? Concrete? Not the one we want. It'll take us part of the way there, not all the way. Yeah, we've got a steady supply of concrete. Our starter factory is still doing legit work. And then aluminum factory is pretty much at efficiency. I didn't pay attention to the numbers 100%. It was wild. The numbers are wild over there. I'll show you when we get there. Let's also see where some of our trains are at. Here, our aluminum train is the one that we want to catch because it goes only there. The coal train and the copper train are also good. The coal is not going to come back down into here. Coal is just going to go right into the sorting area. And when I talk about expanding the train station, the one that's over here, I want to expand it even further out this way. And then get basically all the resources in this area into it. Right now we're collecting resources for like here-ish. So I want to expand it to grab all of this stuff. So it'll likely come all the way out like this. Just have to watch to see where the moth flies. Alright, aluminum train's almost here. Can we see it? This is a little guy. It's only a 1 freight car train. So we're going to go and take a look at an aluminum factory here in a second while it delivers aluminum sheets and aluminum scrap, I think is the other thing. That's what that other thing is called. I'll probably end up making today's video a little bit shorter. We'll take a look at the aluminum factory and likely call it. Like I said, I'm not feeling great today. I have to work here in a couple of hours. We could expand that to, maybe we'll change that station to a Mark 5 station once we get the Mark 3 miner. That might be a good time for us to change that. Our trains have not had an incident in quite some time, ever since I installed Path. Up above us is what I'm calling the Explorer Factory, and that's just when you're out hunting hard drives, which, I hunted a lot of hard drives the other night. When you're out hunting hard drives and you get, those barrel nuts, pale berries, alien organs, that sort of thing, they'll all go in there and turn into medical inhalers, fabric, whatever the case is, power shards, if you get power slugs along the way. It's basically one factory that would just handle all of the intake of that stuff, combine it as needed, produce an output, and then we're likely not to have a train that takes that back and forth because that train wouldn't be that busy. So they might just live there, and then we just, anytime we want something, we'd have to go and grab it. Look how good this looks though from underneath. They lifted asphalt in the middle, and then I painted around the outside. That's our iron factory. Yeah, I think it's looking really good. And here's our aluminum factory. And again, don't mind it because it's rough. It's not a very efficient one, but it is what it is. this is our output, where the aluminum train is. Here's our input. Our input takes a few things. What it does not take is bauxite. Bauxite gets belted in. But on the input, it takes copper ingots and it takes coal. So that's what gets delivered to this station. Then the outputs here, as you can see, get sorted. So this smart splitter decides if it's coal, it goes that way. If it's copper, it goes this way. Then I think these splitters were here for a reason before. It's actually a strange thing. Why are those splitters there? Alright, anyway. Then you've got pumps down below. Or, yeah, water pumps down below. 12 of them. Get put into 3 lines. Those 3 lines come up with pumps to actually push them higher. Does this one not have a pump and it's still filling up? What kind of nonsense is happening in this base? Let's go check the flow rate over here. We'll explore this here a little bit as well. Okay, it's actually shockingly working well. Yeah, okay. So there's a bauxite node way up on that cliff. We're not going to go all the way over there, but basically there's a miner up there that brings it there, brings it down, brings it all the way over here. And that gets brought over here. This is a Mark V belt, all the way from over there into here. So the refineries take in bauxite, take in water, produce alumina solution and silica. We have 8 of those refineries. Those 8 refineries go into these 4 refineries, so I double up the alumina solution, because that produces 120, and then this takes in 240. So 2 of these supply 1 of these with coal. So alumina solution plus coal equals alumina scrap, and output of water. That was the really shitty part. Because if it can't output the water, this backs up. So then, let's see. Yeah, so let's go down here. So then I take that water, I combo it all up from the 4 all together, and then I bring it here, and then I split it off into the 3 into these 3 like lines that came up from above. So let me explain. So down below we're pumping water, and we're pumping it into 3 lines, and those 3 lines go to the 4 refineries above. So you take 1 line, it goes up to 4 refineries. Okay, I had to put a valve on here to limit the water flow, so we're pumping out 420 from below, or we're pumping out 600, but it's getting basically just reduced down to 420, so that the remaining flow from the outputs can get added in without backup. So basically, like, we're saying no more than 420 is coming in off of this line, which also means that the other 120 that is coming from the output of those refineries gets added into this mix without problem. Otherwise, it's honestly the only way that I could have figured out how to do this, because it was so insane to try to figure out the details of that it just, yeah, it didn't. The amount of times I had to come back here and fix something. Yeah, so we're just waiting for coal now. So you can see these are working. And it pumps out alumina scrap. Easy. This one should be working, yep. So it's just coal is not getting to those, which is okay. Here's the other thing. Sometimes alumina scrap, because it gets produced so quickly, will get backed up. And if it gets backed up, there's no output there, then that stops. And the real problem is the dependence on silica. So if this backs up due to scrap or water, then what's not being used is alumina solution. So that backs up. That backs up through the pipe, that backs up all the way up to the refinery. If it backs up in the refinery and has no output, then silica doesn't output. And if silica doesn't output, that can't actually go through the next chain over here to use up the alumina scrap, which then could back up and into this. So it's a vicious loop of really managing the materials. And the problem is with fluids, you can't really do a sink like an awesome sink. What you could do is package up excess with plastic and then put it away. That doesn't seem like it's a good idea. So you really have to limit the flows of your outputs, and that's where valves come into play. So this has been working well for quite some time. It hasn't backed up in a while. Not to say it won't still, but I see how people say that nuclear could be a problem because it's this, but just extra dangerous. On top of it, don't mind belt clipping and all that crap. I don't care. Over here, this is a temporary setup. I needed alumina sheets so that we could finally start finishing up those milestones and start moving to Mark 5. Anyway, so alumina scrap comes in. That with silica makes aluminum ingots. So as you can see, we've got alumina scrap building up on that line. These are all, oh, look at that. We don't have a Mark 5 there. See if we can catch a few sheets before. Oh man, these autosaves are killer though, huh? Yeah, that's probably enough. Where was it? Right here? No, not a catwalk. There we go. Okay, so the alumina scrap will back up like this a lot, and then I basically, if it backs up, use our smart splitters set to overflow. Let it overflow, go in, get merged, and get sunk. I don't want it to overflow too much, or to get sunk too much, because we actually do want this to build up a little bit. And yeah, so you see when materials like coal come in, like coal must have just come in because now that's all built up. So this takes alumina scrap and silica, produces an aluminum ingot. Those get put into these. Aluminum ingots with copper ingots produce alkali aluminum sheets. That's what that is. Copper comes up this way. And then over here, and actually that's totally fine that if it's split on just one line, because these only take 10 per minute, so that's nothing. We're dumping most of the copper ingots right now. And then here, aluminum casing out of the, this was just a temporary little setup. I had all of this built, and then I decided to fork off one line for that, just because we need that. I didn't think that we would need it for really anything, so I thought that was like an in-betweener step, like something between factories, but it's not. It actually produces material, so I actually added it to the sorting where I didn't have it before in the hub. That's our aluminum factory. Let's go and take a look at the copper again. Just want to make sure we're good. So I added this in between floor here for a little bit better sorting. So yeah, here's copper, just one line coming in and getting split to all of these. More than enough. And again, there's not one that I necessarily want fully wasted all the time, so I'm okay with it backing up a little bit, but the moment it backs up enough, it'll start overflowing into the sink. So these splitters were probably here because, oh, that one we actually did need. Okay, well, we're gonna redo this. Yeah, we definitely did need that one. Sometimes you just act too quickly, you know? Is that lined up? I can't tell. It is. And we don't want a conveyor splitter, we want an actual smart splitter. Oh my goodness, I am a hot mess right now. And actually, since that doesn't match up, let's just put this down here for easier lineups. And then that, and then center will be overflow. Left is none. That's a weird thing that sometimes it doesn't recognize that it needs to go forward. Good there. Okay. We're getting some good coupons because I think now things like aluminum sheets are getting added, but whatever. Here, the train station, like I said, it brings in copper and coal, and it will bring it into all 4 containers. Hence the smart splitter right there that basically tells it copper this way, coal that way. And then coal gets fed up, and that goes directly into the refineries, and then this copper goes up, and then obviously, as we saw, it gets sorted into the foundries. Got another awesome sink over there for the coal overflow. If that gets backed up, so like this will get backed up, then this one will get backed up, then this one, then that one, and then it'll eventually flow into that one. It's an overflow center. Easy. That's our aluminum factory. I think that one of the next things we need to do... Oh, let's catch this train back. We'll catch this train back and then probably call the video. So we're bringing back some aluminum with us. I think the next thing we have to do is going to be complete iron plate, rod, and screw factory. And we're just going to build it with Mark 5 belts. Because I didn't do the sorting below. Don't have a train station. Don't have all the train stations set up yet. I need to redo the signals here. So this is stopped because of that train over there. It's got to hit a signal, so this is considered one giant block, which is the problem. When I talk about redoing the train lines, See how they're at the center of the foundation that we're looking at right now? Like it's riding around on the center of that foundation. I'm going to put it on the edge between the two foundations to give it a little bit more space along the right hand side for walls and train signals and such. And then what the plan is to have a 3-rail train line, not in every location, but where junctions happen, and then put path signals there to basically say, oh, you're turning to the right, well, let me take the middle lane so that you're not blocking me. And then they could rejoin later or something. Yeah, I definitely have to play around with it. The idea is that if there's a train waiting to turn into a station off to the right, you could go around it and keep moving forward. That's the plan. In addition, while we're doing that, I'll probably run power lines for the power factory back. Just so that we can truly have a power control room. Must be a train in the station, yep. Yeah, so eventually this is going to back up. That's why we're going to use home 2. This is home 1, that one's home 2 to deliver things, but we'll have to do a sorting solution for that as well. That's probably when we'll do redo the entire sorting setup. So, like, this is what I want to avoid with the train lines, moving them to this scene. Did a little bit of painting. Got some roadways, got some barriers, got some curbs over down there. Here we're going to, what's our sorting to Mark 5. Complete. Walking path near road. What I'm thinking of doing for that is just imagine like not quite like that, but something in that vein, but off to the side, like here maybe. Almost like, you know, when you see bike lanes, like that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing for a walking path. I guess we have that with a sidewalk here, but not when we're out there. So that's what that is. Finish iron factory, copper factory, redo train lines. We talked about that. Explorer factory. Let me show you that, and that's what we'll call it. We'll talk about what that looks like. What my thought is there. Blade runners are still pretty fast. I think the jetpack is most useful when it comes time for building up, right? So this is going to be the Explorer factory. So I laid down a little template, painted the sidewalk. Didn't have plastic at the time, or just didn't do this yet. The idea is you have your Explorer, you're out there exploring and collecting all of those things. Power slugs, all of that stuff. You come up, it's in the trunk of the car. Come up, pull up right here. This unloads, sorts it accordingly, and then basically, I think on this side we'll have the storage containers. and then the sorting and stuff will happen here, but I think manufacturing will happen above. So like sorting will happen right here, storage containers will come here, which means we need a little bit of sorting in the background here as well, and then manufacturing happens above. Turning things into medical inhalers, power shards, etc., all automatically, so we don't have to do it. And the idea is you literally could drive your Explorer in, park it. I think like biomass and stuff will get generated here as well, which would be nice because then it basically can resupply your Explorer in addition. And then you can drive right through and keep going, or what have you, one way or the other. That's the plan, at least, for this building. We never finished up quartz. Actually, I don't know if I have quartz on the to-do list. We didn't finish up quartz because we don't have a quartz node nearby, and I don't want to build a train line to something super far away. We'll probably tackle quartz as we start to dismantle the starter factory, because there's really nothing in the starter factory that quartz uses currently. So we'll build that right before dismantling, and then we'll use the quartz line that's over there that we are actually using as the basis for this quartz factory. But yeah, that's kind of what's next on the horizon here. We've got to redo the copper factory looks-wise a little bit. I think this is copper, that's Caterium. So both of them need a little bit of a makeover. This is our template design. And then quartz, same thing. Concrete's looking good. Our iron factory over there, I built a space for our copper factory right next to it. Same size, so it's double the size of one of these. And then it's time to tackle, I think, floor 2 of this factory. Well, we'll build a baseline because we need to understand how tall this needs to be a second floor. But almost 500 hours in this factory already. We've got quite a bit to go. Well, thanks so much